Commission, again, Edward L. Petrini on behalf of the Virginia Committee to Cure Utility Rates, which consists of large industrial customers of Virginia Power. In this case, the Commission considers Virginia Power's third integrated resource plan. This plan actually encompasses two plans, the base plan and the fuel diversity plan. The evidence will show that once again, the company continues to rely almost exclusively on self-build options for new generation capacity, therefore depriving its customers of the benefits of market-based alternatives that are more likely to produce customer savings. Thus, nothing in the plan indicates that Virginia Power has any intention of returning to the competitive bidding regime that it abandoned several years ago. The evidence also will show that the company's recommended plan is to proceed simultaneously, as I indicated, with two plans. Its base plan, it states, uses least cost planning methods, but in addition, the company proposes to proceed with what it calls its fuel diversity plan. That plan is devoted overwhelmingly to the construction and operation of North Anna 3, with a sprinkling of renewable resources added. Using base case assumptions in its modeling, the company projects that the fuel diversity plan will exceed the cost of its base plan by more than 10%. The company's recommended two-pronged 2013 plan includes the expenditure of billions of dollars that ultimately will be collected by the customer. But that plan, and the others considered by the company, are far too opaque. That is, the company seeks to keep secret far too much of the information concerning its alternative plans, including their costs, their risks, and their underlying assumptions and analyses. Accordingly, the Commission should take steps toward requiring greater public disclosure of such information. The integrated resource planning process is a public one. It should not be shrouded in secrecy. As has been noted by Judge Christie, the Commission is considering motions filed by several respondents, including the committee in this case. The evidence also will show that the company's fuel diversity plan, with its overwhelming emphasis on construction of North Anna 3, poses huge risks and costs for customers, and that the company has failed to assess such costs and risks adequately. In fact, the evidence will show that the uncertainty and risks associated with that plan are such that its costs may well exceed the 10% cost difference between that plan and the base plan that the company has acknowledged using base case assumptions. The Commission staff is critical of the company's failure to analyze the higher operating cost risks associated with the base plan versus the higher development and construction cost risks associated with the fuel diversity plan. Staff's criticisms are well taken. The company should be directed to conduct a more detailed analysis of such risks in its next IRP. In particular, a broader band of development and construction costs and risks should be considered in connection with the fuel diversity plan if, as the company anticipates, it includes that plan going forward, that and its plans going forward. The staff also points out that certain of the risks of the fuel diversity plan can be mitigated by delaying its key component, North Anna 3, that based on the company's analysis, a fuel diversity plan that delays North Anna 3 offers substantial customer savings compared to the fuel diversity plan that the company is following. In conducting further analysis of the costs and risks of alternative plans, such delay thus appears to be an option deserving of additional scrutiny, and the company should be directed to explore it in greater detail going forward. The Commission has held that the IRP is based on a snapshot in time, and by its own terms is not a commitment to a specific course of action. That the IRP is a planning document, not a document that will control future decisions on specific resources, and that the Commission's determination in an IRP proceeding does not preclude Commission approval or disapproval of particular supply side or demand side resource in the future, nor does it create a presumption in favor of or not in favor of a particular resource. including generation construction projects, generation from nugs, conservation, or other options. Given the deficiencies in the file plans, the committee hopes that the Commission will emphasize the limited purpose of this case in deciding. In particular, the Commission should make clear that it is not approving Virginia Power's elimination of any reliance on its existing nugs on the expiration of their contracts, nor, more broadly, is the Commission approving any other particular proposal in the plan to rely upon any other particular generation or demand-side resource. Further, the Commission should make clear that it's not approving in this case the abandonment of competitive bidding, now or in the future, in a particular instance. Finally, in view of the limited scope of the proceeding, the Commission should ensure that Virginia Power is required to disclose its specific plans for seeking certification from the Commission of new generating facilities well in advance of filing for such certification. Virginia Power should not be in a position, in effect, to confront the Commission with a certification application that leaves the Commission little choice but to approve it because the need for new generation and the needed for the related decision, including the Commission's authority to build or otherwise proceed, is fast approaching. The Commission's discretion should not be materially circumscribed by the company's own decisions about when it elects to file a certification. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Petrini.
Fred Oxenhurst for Commission staff. We'll start, as we always do in these cases, with the statute. Section 56599 puts forward two things for the Commission to consider when evaluating the IRP. One, is it reasonable? Two, is it in the public interest? So that's where staff begins its analysis. Staff evaluated the models and the assumptions underlying the company's IRP, and the solutions proposed by the company will present the results of this analysis through three witnesses in this hearing. First, David Eichelov will discuss the company's strategist model, the assumptions underlying the model, and the forecasts produced by the model. As they say, this is not our first rodeo. And the IRP at issue in this case is the result of company modifications to the model and inputs proposed in previous cases, responding both to staff suggestions for future improvements and requirements that the Commission set forth in its orders on the 2009-2011 models. Thus, staff reviewed the company's models used to forecast energy sales, electricity demand, and fuel prices, and concluded that, in general, the model and underlying methodologies appear to be sound. However, the model is only as reliable as the input assumptions used, and as has been its historic practice, staff recommended improvements to be considered by the company in future proceedings. Specifically, while staff recognizes that the company has increased the details surrounding the inputs to its models from the 2009 and 2011 IRPs, Mr. Eichelov will discuss how staff continues to suggest that the company refine its assumptions and sensitivity adjustments in future proceedings. Mr. Eichelov will be followed by staff witness Greg Abbott, who will present the results of staff's analysis of the company's proposed generation and rate design alternatives. As Mr. Abbott will testify, staff concluded that the company's base plan represents the least cost plan. The company's fuel diversity plan, which relies on, among other things, replacing development of a combined cycle unit with development of an additional nuclear unit, would potentially mitigate future operating cost risk by reducing reliance on natural gas-fired generation. However, staff could not conclude from the evidence provided in this case that the base plan necessarily presented unnecessary operating cost risk. While Mr. Abbott will testify that while the fuel diversity plan may reduce operating cost risk, it does so at the expense of increased project development cost risk due to the risk inherent in building new nuclear generation. That is, the only certainty regarding nuclear generation is that it will be more expensive to build than gas-fired generation. However, once constructed, the nuclear unit will operate free of the vagaries of the natural gas market. Staff concluded that one means of potentially mitigating the project development cost risk would be by delaying the operating date of the new nuclear generation, which would reduce the net present value cost of the fuel diversity plan in exchange for some amount of reduced operating cost risk for the period of delay. It is unclear, however, precisely how these relative risks would play out in practice. Thus, Mr. Abbott recommended that the company analyze the trade-off in operating cost and project development risk in delaying the planned nuclear development. By identifying the point at which the operating cost risk becomes excessive, the company could then determine the optimum timing for Normandy 3. Staff also recommended that in future IRPs, the company analyze whether differing resource plans will impact market prices differently, and whether modeling such effects is feasible. Staff recommended that the company also continue to explore alternative rate design proposals in future cases, as they were directed to do by previous commission order. Finally, staff witness Cody Walker will be here to present additional analysis regarding adding DSM programs to the company's supply side alternatives. As staff has concluded in the past, these programs compete favorably when compared to supply side alternatives assessed using the utility cost test, but less so when viewed through the RIM and TRC